Hi, and welcome. You're listening to the X22 Report. My name is Dave, and this is episode 1711B, and today's date is November 8th, 2018, and the title of the episode is Conspiracy No More. People will reject its time. Now, before we get started, I want to talk about being prepared. We all know the deep state, they like to play dirty. We know they push events. I remember when I was in New York City during the 2003 blackout, I wish I had a tool to charge my phone and use it so I can see inside the building. Well, the Patriot Survival Flashlight, it's solar powered, lantern light so you can read by your desk, a USB port to charge your phone anywhere. This phone has it all. Now, this flashlight is an all-in-one lifesaver. I wouldn't go anywhere without it. It's lightweight but very durable. And if you use the code X15, you will get 15% off your Patriot Survival Flashlight. Let's get into the economic collapse, political and geopolitical news. Now, we can see right after the midterms, things have changed dramatically. Things are starting to speed up, and it looks like Q and team, they got what they wanted, and now they can push forward. And we see there was a press conference with Jim Acosta, and he was asking Trump some questions, and Trump said, you're finished here, put down the mic, and he didn't want to. A staffer came up, tried to grab it from him to give it to the next person, and Jim Acosta kind of blocked her with his arm, and basically this whole thing got out of hand, and now the White House is saying, you know something? You're not respectful. You didn't listen to what we were saying. You pushed someone out of the way to keep the microphone, and we're revoking your press credentials. So you're no longer allowed in the White House. And people are making a very big deal. But if we switch this around and this was, say, Trump who had the microphone, this would be all over the corporate media, the mainstream media, and they would be making a big deal that he hits women or something like that. But here, they're turning this around saying it's Trump's fault, which is kind of strange. And the whole discussion revolved around the caravan that was coming up, about the piece that he put out right before the election with the illegals jumping onto the wall and trying to get over. Trump said these are not actors, these are real people. And Acosta says something very strange. Well, they're not going to do it this time. How does he know that? And he said, you don't want people coming to this country? And Trump said, yes, I want people coming into this country, but I want them to go through the proper process. And I think what's happening here is this is a coordinated effort to bring these people up, which we've shown before. And why don't the people just go to where they need to go? Now, of course, they're using the excuse that this is going to create long lines and people are going to have to wait. Yeah, to get into this country, you're going to have to wait. You're going to have to be vetted. You're going to have to be processed. You just can't walk in. It's against the law. It's against the United States law. Remember, we're a country of laws. So once again, they're trying to push their agenda. Now, very interestingly, Facebook, they decided to ignore the requests of Canada and the UK. They're not going to be testifying in front of them. They're saying there's no reason for us to do this. So they're just sidestepping this completely. We see right now that Germany, they're going to be boosting their military spending because of Trump. He said, listen, everyone's got to kick in a little bit more because the U.S. is paying for all of this. And it looks like Germany might be doing this. We'll have to wait and see. We see out in Syria, things are changing rapidly. United Arab Emirates, they are preparing to reopen its embassy in Damascus after 6 years of having it closed down, shut down. So this is very interesting because now we see other countries, Saudi Arabia, Qatar, they're all looking to open up their embassies in Damascus, and they're looking to restart diplomatic talks with the Syrian government. And this is not going to be 5 months down the road, 8 months down the road. Abu Dhabi has ordered full maintenance works to its Syrian embassy to be ready for opening within the next 2 weeks. It is happening much faster now than we've ever seen. So what this really means is that these Middle Eastern countries, they realized that it's a dead end in Syria, and we might as well cooperate with the government, which means, why are the U.S. troops still in there? Why are the coalition forces still in there? There is no reason. This is all coming to an end. Let's get into Q's post here. And this is post 2452. And it says, "Thank you for your service to our country, Mr. Jeff Sessions. Your sacrifices will never be forgotten. Q+." And yesterday we talked about it, where Jeff Sessions handed in his letter of resignation, and everyone's saying that Trump fired him because he asked for this. And we're going to go through this in just a bit, because in post 2453, which is a repost of 2451, and in 2451 there was 2442, it says, "History is being made. You are the saviors of mankind. Nothing will stop what is coming. Nothing. Q." And under this it says, "Thank you for your service to the country, Mr. Trey Gowdy. Thank you for your service to the country, Mr. Bob Goodlott. Your sacrifices will never be forgotten. Q+." So under this, there's a Twitter link to Real Donald Trump, and it says, "We thank Attorney Jeff Sessions for his service and wish him well. A permanent replacement will be nominated at a later date." Under this, it says, "While we cannot telegraph everything, the reason all can understand, we do try in our own way to inform loyal Annans and patriots." And it would be a problem if they telegraphed every single move. Because why? The deep state would know everything. Sometimes they have to make it look like something else while they perform another action behind the scenes. This is being done on purpose. What are the odds that "Thank you for your service" was posted less than 1 hour prior to POTUS R.E. Sessions' "Thank you for your service"? Do you believe in coincidences? This is another Q confirmation. How many coincidences before mathematically impossible? The Senate was the key. All caps. Enjoy the show. Q. Now, what's very interesting is when you look at Jeff Sessions' letter, there was no date on it. There was no resignation date. And some have noted the letter of resignation was undated because it was written prior to the official request from the president. This was already planned. And once the president requested it, he just handed it over. I want to go back a little bit, because remember when Q said activate Sessions? Did activating him mean going after these individuals, like Clinton and the rest? Or did it mean that he was activated to step down? Because if we look at post 2197, it says activate Sessions. Now the brackets are turned out, and it says Q. It wasn't in bold. So what was Sessions used for? Trump distanced himself from Sessions to allow him to do things behind the scenes while all eyes remained on Trump. Sessions has passed the ball to the acting AG, along with everything he's been working with Huber and Horowitz and the rest. So it looks like his job was to set everything up. The cleanup is coming. And I believe now when we read it, activate Sessions with the brackets turned out meant that now he's going to step down and a replacement's going to come in who's a heavy hitter that will go after these people. Now, Rod Rosenstein reportedly headed to the White House after Sessions was fired, resigned, whatever you want to call it. And now there's rumors that he's thinking about resigning himself. This is very interesting. Post 2454, an Annan put up, "Board under attack." Q says, "Do you understand why?" Q, "Yes, because we know what's about to happen. The D class, and everyone's going to be scurrying, and they're going to be in panic mode." Post 2455, an Annan put up an article from Reuters, and it says, "Top Senate Democrat Schumer, Whitaker should recuse himself from Russia probe." Under it, it says, "There will be no recusal. Panic in D.C., all caps. So right now, Deputy Attorney General Rod Rosenstein will no longer oversee the Mueller investigation. Acting Attorney General Whitaker will take over in his place. And the article says, and this is from Reuters, it says, Senate Democrat leader Chuck Schumer said on Wednesday that Acting Attorney General Matthew Whitaker, who was appointed by President Trump after he fired Jeff Sessions, should recuse himself from oversight of the Russian probe. Given his previous comments advocating defunding and imposing limitations on the Mueller investigation, Mr. Whitaker should recuse himself from its oversight for the duration of his time as acting attorney general, Schumer said. So far, Whitaker, as acting attorney general, is opposed by all the people that are being investigated: Feinstein, Schumer, Pelosi, mainstream media, and the rest. They don't want him there. Now, why do you think they got rid of Sessions? And I'm starting to see the bigger picture here, because remember, Sessions recused himself, allowed Rod Rosenstein in there to manage Mueller. Now Sessions is gone, and that recusal is gone, and the heavy hitters coming in, and guess what? There's nothing holding that person back at all. Who will that person be? We'll have to wait and see. We had some hints, and if this comes true, it might be Trey Gowdy, or it could be somebody else. But I'm sure it's going to be someone who's going to be a heavy hitter. Then we move on to post 2456, and it says, Ezra Cohen Watnick Q. And Q wants to go back and reread drop for Ezra Cohen Watnick, and you guys can do that on your own. Let's move on to post 2457. Q put up a Twitter link from Supermom 43207, and it says, fun fact, today is the anniversary of Red October in 1917. So on November 7th, this was Red October. What is Red October? The revolution was led by the Bolsheviks, who used their influence in the Petrograd Soviet to organize the armed forces. Bolshevik Red Guards forces under the Military Revolution Committee began the occupation of government buildings on November 7th, 1917. That's what Q was talking about. What happened on the 7th? Sessions was fired, resigned. Very interesting. Post 2458. Red line on the anniversary of Red October. Now, what are the odds of that? What does he mean by red line? Well, we have to go to post 2459. Q put up a Twitter link to Eric Holder. Anyone who attempts to interfere with or obstruct the Mueller inquiry must be held accountable. This is a red line. We are a nation of laws and norms, not subject to the self-interest actions of one man. Under this, it says, imagine if the new acting AG now releases all previously blocked doc requests by the House, including the Rod Rosenstein secondary class scope doc. Stealth bombers fly undetected. That was the stealth bomber. Sessions stepping down, new AG coming in. The red line, months old 4 a.m. narrative should be updated. Pain coming. Q. Now, the deep state, the Democrats, they're out there, and there are 4 senior members. This is House Judiciary Committee Ranking Member Gerald Nadler, Intelligence Committee Ranking Member Adam Schiff, Oversight and Government Reform Committee Ranking Member Elijah Cummings, and Senate Judiciary Committee Ranking Member Dianne Feinstein, sent a letter to top administration officials demanding the preservation of all documents and materials relevant to the work of the Office of the Special Counsel or the firing of Attorney General Jeff Sessions. Now, it looks like they are very worried, and they think that Trump is going to get rid of all of their work. There was no work. He has nothing. They're trying to push it out there like Trump is trying to get rid of Mueller's work, but there's nothing there. Actually, Mueller is reported to be writing his final report, which is going to add up to absolutely nothing. And they know it. They're sweating right now. Now, the letters that they wrote, they were sent to numerous Trump administration officials, including Pat Cipollone, FBI Director Chris Wray, Director of National Intelligence Dan Coates, CIA Director Gina Haspel, Deputy U.S. Attorney for the Southern District of New York Robert Khuzami, Treasury Secretary Steve Mnuchin, NSA Director Paul Nakasone, IRS Commissioner Charles Reddick, and Acting Attorney General Matt Whitaker. So almost immediately following Sessions' resignation, we started to hear about pro-Mueller rallies that are being organized around the nation. And they're just ready to go. Is this amazing? They've been on standby because they're ready, just like the Trump administration is ready. And they knew eventually Sessions would step down. So they planned this out because, again, what is Mueller? Mueller is very important. We'll get into that in just a minute. Post 2460. Now, Q put up 2 links to Wikipedia, one for martial law and one for posse comitatus. And it says, or in response to chaos associated with protests and mob action. Article 1, Section 9 in the U.S. Constitution states, the privilege of the writ of habeas corpus should not be suspended unless when in cases of rebellion or invasion, the public safety may require it. Q. So if we read martial law, this is what it says. Martial law is the imposition of direct military control of normal civilian functions of government, especially in response to temporary emergencies such as invasion or a major disaster or an occupied territory. Martial law can be used by government to enforce their rule over the public. Such incidences may occur after a coup d'etat, when threatened by popular protests, or some type of revolution, or to stabilize insurrections or perceived insurrections. Martial law may be declared in cases of major natural disasters. However, most countries use different legal constructs such as state of emergency. Martial law also has been imposed during conflicts and in cases of occupations, where the absence of any civil government provides for an unstable population. Examples of this form of military rule include World War II, Reconstruction in Germany and Japan, the recovery and reconstruction of the former Confederate States of America during Reconstruction era in the United States of America following the American Civil War. Posse Comitatus Act, well, this is the act, and it's under the United States Federal Law, 18 U.S.C. Section 1385, original at 20 Stat 152, signed on June 18, 1878 by President Hayes. The purpose of the act, in concert with the Insurrection Act of 1807, is to limit the powers of federal government in using federal military personnel to enforce domestic policies within the United States. Now, the act specifically applies to the United States Army, and as amended in 1956. The United States Air Force was added. While the act does not explicitly mention the Navy or the Marine Corps, the Department of Navy has prescribed regulations that are generally construed to give the act force with respect to those services as well. The act does not apply to the National Guard or the Air National Guard under state authority from acting in a law enforcement capacity within its home state or an adjacent state if invited by the state governor. United States Coast Guard, which operates under the Department of Homeland Security, is not covered by the Posse Comitatus Act either, primarily because although the Coast Guard is an armed service, it also has both a maritime law enforcement mission and a federal regulatory agency mission. So why is Q mentioning martial law and Posse Comitatus? Why is he even mentioning this? Well, first, let's go back to the beginning, and this is the first post of Q, post number 1. And Anon put up, Hillary Clinton will be arrested 7:45 to 8:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time on Monday, the morning on October 30th, 2017. Well, we know that didn't happen. Q says Hillary Clinton extradition already in motion, effective yesterday with several countries in case of cross-border run. Passport approved to be flagged effective 10:30 at 12:01 a.m. Expect massive riots organized in defiance and others fleeing the U.S. to occur. Post 2397, and that means they were tracking Hillary Clinton and they were flagging her passport. And this is later on in the post, this is why they knew exactly where she was going. Now, we're going to move into post 2397. This is about Mueller, and I'll read parts of it. Mueller designed to limit POTUS' ability to maneuver. Mueller designed to stall for time until midterm elections to terminate all House Senate ongoing investigations. That didn't come true. Mueller designed to safeguard D-Party base false narrative Russian collusion. POTUS cheated, evil, sky falling, in an effort to divide and mobilize for future protests, riots, threats, violence, false flags, etc. Mueller designed to provide fake news with ammunition to sway public opinion, obstruct foreign and domestic agenda. Mueller designed to demonstrate to foreign players that old guard still pulls the strings. Mueller designed to mobilize D Party for midterm vote win. Didn't happen. Mueller designed to push D Party backers to donate GoFundMe D Party. So what we're seeing right now is Q is telling us that they are preparing for all of this: riots, threats, violence, false flags. Now, I want to go on to post 1644, and we'll explain why Q is preparing everyone for what is coming. And Anon put up on post 1644, I almost hope they don't ask. It would be fun to watch them try to manage the spin when 90% of the country is aware of you and all that you've been shining a light on, while the mainstream media still can't acknowledge it. I can see them squirming now. Now, Q came back and said, it must happen, the D-class. Conspiracy no more. Think of every post made. It would force us to prove everything stated to avoid looking crazy, correct? What do they fear the most? Public awakening. If they ask, they self-destruct. They know this is real. See attacks. The build is near complete, growing exponentially. You are the frame. You are the support. People will be lost. People will be terrified. People will reject. People will need to be guided. Do not be afraid. We will succeed. Timing is everything. Think Huber. Think Department of Justice, FBI, reorg. Think sex child arrest. Think resignations. Loss of control. How do you remove evil in power unless you reveal the ultimate truth? It must be compelling to avoid a divide. Political attacks optics. We are the majority, growing. Sheep no more, together. So why is this all happening? Well, out of Sarah Carter, she put up the article and it says, Trump is seriously considering declassifying key Russia investigation documents. Congressional members say the declassification would expose extensive evidence of abuse by the FBI and FISC. Trump said, and this is on Wednesday, that he is seriously considering declassifying a slew of documents requested by former Republican House leadership investigating the FBI's handling of the Russian probe. And this is what Trump said. We are looking at the declassification very seriously, said Trump. It's amazing how people on the other side just don't want those documents declassified. We're looking at that very carefully. I certainly wanted to wait until after the midterms. Now, the documents include all documents related to the Department of Justice, official Bruce Orr interviews with the FBI, Orr, who has been demoted 3 times for not informing his superiors of his role in the FBI investigation, gave a deposition to Congress in August where he admitted he was used as a back channel by the FBI so the Bureau could continue to communicate with the former British spy and dossier creator Christopher Steele. At the time, the FBI had terminated Steele as a confidential source when it caught him communicating with the media. This will expose Clinton, Obama, and Rosenstein, showing all these individuals that signed off on all of this. Now, again, we said this before. Right after Sessions stepped down, all of a sudden, these websites, TrumpIsNotAboveTheLaw.org, MoveOn.org, they were already calling for protests in 900 cities because of the firing of Jeff Sessions. So they were already prepared for this. We also see that Antifa has been going to Senator Ted Cruz, Tucker Carlson, going to their homes. They're putting out their addresses, and they've been harassing them. And they're saying that they're going to riot and protest and cause disruptions. Now, we had an event today in California, and this was at a bar in California where this veteran came in and allegedly shot people. Now, that individual is dead. We know that this is how the false flags normally go. They're following the exact same formula. The bar is called Borderline, and they're saying that this individual had mental problems, and he was being helped. And we know from the past, from Q's posts, they can control innocence. And if I look at this, I noticed that they can control people that are on certain medications, and they're able to control them in a certain way. So once again, we can see that this is pushing a certain agenda. Now, right off the bat, we had Democrat Nadler. This individual's already and this is Jerry Nadler. This individual's already pushing legislation on gun control. And I believe that this is another push to say, hey, don't do it. Guess what's going to happen? We're going to see a lot more of this. And it's funny, before the midterms, we said there's most likely going to be another event. And it looks like they already had one ready to go. And they waited to right after the midterms because they know what's coming. So an anon kind of sums all of this up. Borders are sealed. Judges are seated. Senate is in the control of patriots. Executive orders, laws, and rulings are in place. The research and indictments on all their crimes are all on the books waiting to be unsealed. Knowing the knowledge of Mueller's activities was the left's red line, that they would riot and spill blood once it was crossed. Sessions gave Trump allies time to prepare and arrange all the things. Sessions was in place to keep the deep state busy on Trump while everything was prepared behind the scenes. The deep state mainstream media was focused on Sessions, trusting him. And I believe the trusting part, trust Sessions, was actually having the deep state and the mainstream media trust Sessions. So every time Q said trust Sessions, I think it was about that. Now he stepped aside to eliminate the recusal, and a new AG has already been prepared for action. Everything is in place. The deep state was already ready and prepared for this day. Websites were ready to push protests, riots. Trump and his admin prepared by enacting martial law if needed. Borders will be shut down and arrests will be made. But none of this will stop the declassification. The world will know. The storm of pain is upon us. So it looks like everything from the past is coming to the future right now, to the present and into the future. And everything that has been going on has been setting up for this moment in time where everything had to be set up. And this is why Q was out there saying, listen, don't let your emotions get involved. Logical thinking. Think about what's going to happen. Think about when the D-class comes out. Do you think everyone's just going to accept this? No. They're going to reject it. They're going to say Trump made this up. The mainstream media is going to say it's false. It's not true. They're going to try to spin it. But what's going to happen is they're going to present documentation. They're going to present the signatures. They're going to present how they manipulated the courts to get the FISA warrant. How they spied on a candidate and then a president. And then it's going to go into other things. You have to start someplace. But again, you have to get the people used to this. Now, again, the mainstream media, the deep state, they don't want this to happen. Why do you think they're countering with protests, which they hope will move into riots, which they hope it will be a full bloodbath in this country to divide the country? This is what they're hoping. And then on the other side, what we see happening is everyone needs to come together at this point. Look at the real evidence. Look at what really happened. Forget emotions. Forget about, oh, he's right, she's right, he's wrong, she's wrong. Look at what really has been going on. And this is when people are going to reject. This is when people are going to get angry. Remember when you first woke up? It wasn't easy. And remember, these people have been so brainwashed into thinking that no way did this happen. When they find out, it's going to take some time. They're going to reject. They're going to be angry. They're going to be pissed off. And the deep state is betting on this. This is what they're hoping for. But if we as a people come together and we start thinking logically, not emotionally, logically, looking at the tape, the videotapes, looking at the signature, looking at the facts, we can get through this. And once we figure out, I mean, we've already figured it out. Once everyone else figures it out, that who the real enemy is, this is when the country can start to change. This is when people can start to say, you know something? I felt something was wrong, but now I know it. Or I never knew this because I watched the mainstream media. I'm not watching them anymore. And now I see the real facts. I see what really happened here. What else have they been lying to me about? Because this is how we felt when we first woke up. If they lied about this, then they lied about this, and that. This is just the beginning. This is going to be a whole new world. And this is what the deep state, the mainstream media, is so afraid of. And they're just not going to lie down and take it. They are prepared on their side. And Trump and the Patriots are prepared on their side. This is why it took so long. Because this is the pivotal point. Everything led up to this point. And we have to be ready and prepared for all of this. Now, before I forget, don't forget to follow me on Minds. That is Minds.com. You can earn cryptocurrency by posting comments or start your own account in Minds. It is completely free to join. Listen, everyone, thanks a lot for listening. Be well, be safe, and especially be prepared. Thanks a lot.